It's a common point of amusement among Highlander fans I've met that Sean Connery, perhaps the greatest Scottish actor of all time, was cast as a Spaniard Egyptian named Ramirez in Highlander, while Christopher Lambert, a Frenchman, played the most famous fictional Scottish character in film and television. It's even funnier when you consider that neither of them are really capable of speaking in any way other than their natural accent.
We are the same, MacLeod. We are brothers!
Lambert cannot imitate a Scottish accent to save his life, and Sean Connery actually worked with a Spanish acting and voice coach for the role of Ramirez, the result of which was absolutely no change to his natural Scottish accent.
Greetings.
When I was a little kid, I'd ask my dad why they didn't cast Sean Connery as Connor MacLeod, because when you're little, you're not super perceptive about common sense things, such as the fact that Sean Connery was clearly too old in 1986 to play Connor MacLeod, being 56 years of age at the time of filming. Christopher Lambert, on the other hand, was 29 years old when the first Highlander film was made. Lambert had his first starring role just a year before production on Highlander began as Tarzan in Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, Lord of the Apes, a 1984 film. The director of Highlander, Russell Mulcahy, had seen Greystoke and believed Lambert had the perfect level of intensity to his presence, even without any dialogue. You see, Lambert spoke almost no English and barely spoke in the Greystoke role as Tarzan. Even so, Mulcahy was struck by Lambert's otherworldly presence and sought him out to play Connor MacLeod, meaning Lambert did not audition for the role, and sadly, there is no audition tape of him doing a reading of Highlander. But let's all take a moment and appreciate these Christopher Lambert headshots from the 1980s, as they are truly what dreams are made of. I love how they express that he was French through a combination of metrosexual fashion choices and cigarettes. Anyway, he had very much impressed the Highlander production team with his ability to act through his physicality in Tarzan, which was important for a character like Connor MacLeod, who is meant to feel out of place in the modern world. William Panzer, one of the producers, has also stated on the record in several interviews that Lambert's portrayal of Tarzan made him the top choice for Highlander. You may recognize the name Panzer from the opening credits of the Highlander television series, as he produced the show as well.
Hi, I'm Bill Panzer, executive producer of Highlander.
In interviews, Panzer and Mulcahy said they pursued Lambert because they saw that he could embody a character who felt alien in his surroundings, an important aspect of portraying someone who had lived through multiple centuries. In several statements, Mulcahy referenced the fact that he believed Lambert's lack of English was much less of a problem to solve than it would have been to cast someone who lacked Lambert's ability to convey deep emotion and mystery with his intense, unusual look, along with a sexy, brooding demeanor. That is to say, it would be easier to teach Lambert English than to find an English speaking actor with as perfect of an immortal look as Lambert. Looking deep into his sultry eyes that feel as though they have seen many lifetimes, it's hard to come up with many counterpoints to that. Unlike Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery was a seasoned star in 1986, already known for his iconic James Bond role as well as a handful of other top-tier acting performances, including as Daniel Dravot in The Man Who Would Be King in 1975. They had a fairly modest budget for a fantasy film at the time, which was around $16 million, which had to cover all of production, every employee, the actors, and the soundtrack, which, of course, they had Queen for. While exact figures were not reported, it is widely accepted based on the budget and comments made in interviews that director Mulcahy and producer Panzer knew they needed to allocate at least $1 million of the budget to go towards securing Sean Connery as Ramirez. Mulcahy and Panzer knew that if they could get Connery, he would bring credibility and respect to the film, as well as a wider audience who wouldn't have otherwise seen an action fantasy movie. According to interviews and behind the scenes accounts, it was Panzer who personally approached Connery about playing the role of Ramirez, in addition to sending him a copy of the script. Sean Connery reportedly loved the script and was intrigued by the character of Ramirez. He felt that he could have a lot of fun with the role while bringing a depth to Ramirez and his eccentricities. Ultimately, Connery agreed to do the role if all of his filming could be completed in 7 days for a $1 million fee. Mulcahy and Panzer made it happen, getting all of his scenes done in the 7 days except the recording of the introduction. Connery recorded that from the bathroom of his voice coach's Spanish villa. Christopher Lambert, on the other hand, it is widely believed was paid somewhere between $200,000 and $400,000, with Sean Connery being paid much more for his supporting role than Lambert was for his starring role as Connor MacLeod. Considering the fact that Lambert spoke very little English and was basically repeating the sounds of his lines for the majority of filming, I think that they both did everything in their power to bring the roles of Connor MacLeod and his mentor Ramirez to life, truly immortalizing the pair as the prototypes for every immortal protagonist in science fiction for all time. Hope you enjoyed this piece of Highlander trivia and lore. Please like and subscribe for new videos weekly.